everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Monstrous Games. I'm your host, the enlightened and excited ADV. Joining me is the gallivanting Gallatrat himself, Mr. Jacob Taylor.
What's going on, everybody?
The celestial brush herself, Mr. Celeste Roberts.
Hi, happy Monday, everybody.
The devastating Dungeoneer himself, Mr. David Lasby.
Hey, everybody, happy summer.
And of course, my partner in crime, boss man himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me on this episode of Nintendo Pow Block. I'm very excited to be here.
We are back in the building. I'm so glad to be with you guys. This is episode 250, part 2 of Nintendo Pow Block. We got our full cast. And unfortunately, our indie insider could not make it. At this time, he is actually searching for more indies to talk to us about. So
I do. Dan, when we get to docked mode, I do have a message to play from Dan, by the way. So when we get there, he sent a message. I want to play it on the show. You guys probably won't hear it because I don't know how to get it to you guys. But everybody that's watching will be able to hear it.
Yes, but how has everybody been doing? I know we have recovered from E3. We know we are dealing with crazy weather around.
Who's recovered?
I mean, we have came down from Cloud 9 from that Nintendo Direct. Microsoft.
Who came down?
Got us all.
I'm
Microsoft
still up there.
What?
I'm still up there. I'm still dancing on that cloud. It was amazing.
Is it because that we still got our theories from Breath of the Wild too? That
I've got new theories, but that's an episode for a different day. I got new theories. Theories.
David has already known that I have talked to him personally in chat to be like, okay, what about this? It has gotten so good. This is. So for anyone who know us on earlier versions of Nintendo Pow Block when we started, we have had about 10 to 12 episodes still dedicated to Breath of the Wild. And it feels like this conversation is still going for the second one. There are still theories and people are analyzing that trailer. And David has been making some good theories, and I'm just like, but it can't be. But you're just like, yeah, it can, because this happened. And I'm just like Celeste, when I see you for Video Game Summit, we are going to just gag over that trailer and just be like, okay, what are your thoughts? I want to hear. Jacob, I'm gonna come to Jacob and be like, okay, get some fries, get a sandwich, sit down with me. What is your theories? Like, I cannot wait to talk to you guys about the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, and when the game actually comes out next year, we're probably gonna even have a discussion about the title. And I'm excited. I'm literally excited. But how's everybody been doing? Go ahead, Celeste.
Well, Ed, I want to plug, since you mentioned Video Game Summit, Another Zelda podcast will be attending Video Game Summit on July 17th. It's in Villa Park, which is about 40 minutes outside of Chicago. And quite a few people from Boss Rush will be meeting up over there, including Eddie V.
Hey! Yes. I'm so excited. But how have you all been doing? I'm going to start with you, Corey. How have you been? How was your weekend?
I'm tired. No, it was good. It was an okay weekend. We went to the zoo. We kind of watched, let me tell you, we watched both Trolls movies this weekend.
World tour.
Yeah, it was riveting stuff. And I actually got to play a little bit of video games this week, so there's that too.
Yes. Jacob, it has been so long that I have talked to you. We have connected because of the Square Enix Final Fantasy thing. Our energies have gathered together. But how have you been?
I just forgot that was a thing, Ed. Like that had left my mind, and now I'm just angry again.
Well, it's back. It's back.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I've been playing a lot of Metroid, as many people have. Working my way through each of the 2D Metroid side-scrolling games in order. I'm on Super Metroid now.
Ooh. Are you streaming that?
I'm not. I'm keeping Metroid for myself. I'll stream Metroid Dread when it comes out, but It's too much work, and I'm in the middle of too many other games during stream. But played a lot of Phoenix Wright on stream. That's what I am streaming.
Ooh.
It's Phoenix Wright doing the voice acting for that. It's a lot of fun. I hope you come check it out, viewers, listeners, all of y'all.
I think you have magnificent voice acting, Jacob.
Thank you. I think
Nintendo should cast you for the next English translation.
Are you kidding me? I would love it. I want to be Herlock Sholmes so bad. And then Mario Golf. I've been playing a lot of Mario Golf. But other than that, man, I really haven't done a whole lot. I've just worked and gamed. It's been kind of a weird week for me because I've been so busy at work that then once I'm done with work, I get home and I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna play games and relax and chill. So.
Yes. How have you been? It's been such a long time, but actually since our Talk to Walk episode, which everybody, please go watch our Talk to Walk or tell me why. With featuring Stoy, man, that was such a great discussion. Do go watch it for pride. And if you still got an Xbox or a PC, go download the game. It's still free. Get that game. It's really, really good. But Celeste, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been kind of busy. I started a new job in February, and it's a completely new position for the company. So it's been really busy in that regard, and we're getting ready for Video Game Summit. David Geisler and I have been working on different things behind the scenes to get ready for that, and I've been interviewing some really cool people for the 1v1 series. Trying to play video games whenever I can. I have a few on my 3DS. I really love to wind down with Happy Home Designer. Remembers that?
Yes.
So soothing. I love that game. And Kirby's Ultra Epic Yarn or Super Epic Yarn. Yeah, Ultra. I really like. Oh, it's so cute. How precious is that game?
I still own the game for Wii, the original one, and I twirl every time I play that game because it's so cute.
Wow, I love it.
David, my homie, my editor-in-chief, how have you been dealing with this hotness, this hotness?
The heat's been rough, but the gaming has been good. It's been an excuse to stay up all night because it's too hot to sleep anyway, and so I guess I'll talk about what I've been playing when we get to playing with power. But I've been enjoying my Switch quite a bit, and I also snagged an Xbox Series X this week, and have been diving into some games that I missed on the last generation of Xbox. So it's been good. It's been fun.
Yes, and I still love your dill pickle, Snacktendo.
Oh, yes.
I need to find them. I'm going to be on the quest finding those Thursday, and I cannot wait. And
I was excited that it became its own pod clips. That was great on our website.
I was watching the episode, and I was just clapping. I'm just like, yes, I get to hear about dill pickles. Yes.
I felt it was important to get the information about dill pickles out there.
Pickles are gross.
Oh no.
I mean, I know I made this debate last week, but I still don't know if I like pickles. My wife bought this, or my mother-in-law gave my wife this. It's like pico de gallo, but it's called pickle de gallo, and it's just like,
oh my god,
pickle, like
pickle de gallo.
Salsa. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah,
it combines my love of pickles and puns.
Yeah, wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you like fried pickles, David?
Yes.
Yes.
You get.
So
you gotta have some dipping sauce for it.
So we ate that, and I had like 3 or 4 bites of it, and I still don't know if I like pickles.
Pickles and tomatoes are a sin against humanity.
Oh my god,
they're awful. They're
Do you like
worst.
ketchup and spaghetti sauce?
Yes, and that's why tomatoes are so bad. Is because the only reason they're good is if you turn them into something else.
Ketchup.
I have to
Ketchup
agree
isn't
with
a
you there.
real
I don't eat
vegetable.
tomatoes.
Every other vegetable is great by itself, as is. Maybe cooked, like maybe something done to it. Maybe not just raw, but tomatoes and pickles are absolutely terrible.
David, I feel your energy. I don't know. For me, I of course played some games and doing some writing. I also snagged the Series X, and I cannot wait for my sister to come in because I want to play Gears 5 and literally see how the enhancements doing that.
Now you're coming from a 1S, right, Ed? To a Series X. Oh my gosh,
yes.
dude, your eyes are gonna melt.
Yes, because I was thinking of getting a X, but I was just by the time I was thinking about it, they had announced Series X, and I'm just like, well, I'll just go ahead and get that one and everything. So, and plus the TV that I had at that time wasn't doing like 4K or anything. Now, like I got this big Samsung TV. I'm like, I need someone that's gonna something that's really gonna push it, and I really want to see how Gears 5 is, because just Gears 5 in total on like a 1080 looks gorgeous still. It's still a beautiful game. I cannot wait to play that. But everybody, we're going to get into some quick housekeeping because we got to get the show rolling. Yes. This is episode 250, part 2 of Nintendo Pow Block podcast. Each and every week we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You could join us live on Mondays at 8:30 Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our filming of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. And also, everybody, come join us on the Boss Rush Network Discord. We have a ton of communities there that talk about games, entertainment, snacks, and more. And David, would you also like to talk about our writing community?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in checking out our stuff, you can go to bossrushgames.com, where we have daily features discussing and debating games, and editorials on the weekend where we, as a staff, ask some interesting questions about games and review new and retro games on Sundays. And if you're interested in joining our writing team, you can also reach out to us. We have a contact page on our website with all the information you need to apply to our writing team.
Yes. Well, everybody, you know what time it is. Snacktendo! And Jacob, I'm going to start with you. What have you been snacking on?
Yeah. Today I had pineapple rice, which is
Ooh.
so it's a base of rice, obviously, just regular white rice, and then it's cooked in vegetable broth and pineapple juices. It's got onions and a couple of different root vegetables, beans, sprouts. It has carrots. It has tomatoes, which I picked out because tomatoes are gross. And then, of course, pineapple. It has pineapple, and which is a little weird because the pineapple is cooked, and so it's hot. I've never had hot pineapple before. I've always eaten pineapple cold. Yeah, that was a little odd. But all in all, it was really, really good. I get it from this little Thai place. I've talked about it before, I think, called Prick Nam Pla. And they make absolutely delicious Thai food. So I think the only thing it was missing for me personally was like some sort of like nut. Like I would have done well with like almond slivers or something like that. But other than that, I had an actual snack. I tried the s'mores cookie from Subway. Those are delicious. Oh my god.
S'mores cookie from Subway.
Wait. When did that start? I didn't know they did that.
I don't know. I don't know when it started. I don't go to Subway a whole lot, but there is one that's like 2 minutes away from my house. And I went on Saturday and I was like, you know what? I want a sandwich. So I went to Subway and got a sandwich, and they had the s'mores cookies. I bought 3 of them, and then I went back Sunday, even though I wasn't necessarily in the mood for a sandwich again. But I was like, I want to get more s'mores cookies. So
you bought a sandwich, really so it didn't look like you were just going back for the cookies.
For the cookies, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah, it was. They were so good, man. The marshmallow was like just the perfect amount of like chewy, but you still had the chocolate wasn't like chocolate embedded in it. It was like drizzled on top, and then it was like a graham cracker cookie. Oh my god!
Subway chocolate chip cookies.
Good.
Subway chocolate chip cookies is amazing.
Their cookies are the best fast food cookies I've ever had.
I had a a long time ago, I had a roommate who worked at Subway, and he would come home with whatever cookies they didn't sell that day, and then bread as well because they couldn't.
Oh,
So we would just always have Subway, like full 12-inch Subway sandwich bread, just like we looked like a little French villa because we just had back.
Did you start singing from Beauty and the Beast?
No.
Were you wearing your berets?
No, but I have worn a beret before because I marched and I played tuba in marching band. So
You were in marching band as well.
yeah,
So
I was in the
let's just
newspaper.
lit up.
Yeah.
Oh
So there is. I'll have to find it, but I was in our local news as the front page with me and my little beret and marching band tuba. So I'll have to find it and post it in Discord or something.
Texas does not play with marching bands.
No, we do
Okay,
They do not.
they are
We
on
had-
point. Trust me, they are on point with their marching bands.
Yeah, some of our little schools were like, "Oh, we're going to go over to Texas and compete in the marching competitions." Oh, hell no. Mm-mm.
No, my school was like, we were noted because we had white dinkles, which are your shoes, and like that's a sin in marching band because it's so easy to notice if white dinkles are out of place because they just stick out on the field. Most bands use black colored shoes, and we had, because we're Texan, we had cowboy hats, which is also a sin. The reason for the little marching band lore, the reason they wear those like up and down hi-hats is because you can see those in a line really easily and you can tell if people are lined up really easily. But if the hat is different or weirdly shaped, it's actually a lot harder to like, it looks like you're out of place even though you're not. So it's a lot harder to get graded on.
Give me that high five, Jacob, because we had white shoes and white pants.
Yes! Oh my God, yeah. It's great. I love
Well,
it.
Celeste, what have you been snacking on? It's been a while since you've been on the show and talking about Snacktendo.
Well, I assure you, the snacks have been in large supply. In fact, tonight I tried the Cheetos street corn flavor. And they get an A+ from me. They're absolutely delicious.
That's exciting.
Okay, so now I gotta, because our Frito-Lay person comes in tomorrow, and I may have to ask him about that. Be like, I need these chips in my store now.
I think you do. I went to the new Asian market in my town, and I picked up a lot of snacks. Those were really good. Some ramen and these ice cream bars. It's vanilla ice cream encapsulated in the waffle cone. So imagine the delicious part of the bottom of the ice cream cone, and it's like a little bar.
That sounds
yes.
so good.
It's genius.
David, what have you been snacking on?
Well, yesterday I made homemade spring rolls, and it was great. Like diced up cucumber, carrot, cilantro, mint, thyme, and jalapeno, and then marinated some tofu and got some rice paper, and then you just like dip it and wrap it right there, and it was so good. Made like a spicy Thai peanut sauce to go over the top and to dip them in, and it was fantastic.
Now what's up? Boss, Corey, what have you been snacking on?
I didn't really have a lot of snacks this week. We did go to, David brought up rice paper. We did eat at a restaurant called Rice Paper this weekend. And I got the Indonesian fried rice, which is what I always get when we go there. And let me tell you, it's been a while since I've eaten there, but I would eat that daily because it's so good. It is so good. It's just, spicy, like this kind of spicy fried rice with grilled onions and broccoli and cucumbers and stuff. And then it's grilled lemon chicken and lemon shrimp. So it's just it's making me hungry now.
Is it on our list to go when I come visit?
Yes, Ed, it's on the list to go.
Yes.
I don't know how many times you think we're eating while you're here because the list is like 50 things long.
No. Hey, I got the money to feed everybody.
Mhm.
Do you have enough room in your tummy, though?
No, I don't. Ed has we already determined that Ed just has the iron stomach of a, I don't know, incinerator. Like, it just, I don't understand how your body works, but it's fine.
It's fine.
It defies all
how
the laws of science, but, you know.
It is an incinerator. That's how he stays so like excitable and happy all the time. Is because food goes in and just instantly becomes energy.
Yeah.
It doesn't digest or anything.
Yeah.
It's just instant energy.
You don't know how when food kicks in and I black out and wake up 4 hours later. Like, oh, was I supposed to be doing something?
Yeah, Ed just takes naps. Like,
Oh.
Ed never sleeps. He's never asleep. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. I message him, unless it's like a normal time of day, like 2:00 in the afternoon, and he's just passed out somewhere.
That is true. Well, for me, everybody, I have had sushi, and it was just so good. No. But I also had some soy sauce ramen, that I bought from the Japanese market that I go to. It was really good. And I also got some Nintendo Japanese candy.
Whoa!
That's interesting.
Whoa, slow that down. Slow that down.
Ed, bring it back.
Slow it down.
What we got? We got the Sword and Shield, Lucario, Score Bunny. I hope that's like a spicy candy.
Like,
Yamper.
What?
oh,
Pikachu.
I love Pikachu.
I also got these.
Ooh.
No way.
Kirby! Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Are those new?
I guess so. And then I have these. So I don't know what they actually are, but this is Luigi's.
That's Mario.
That's
man.
Mario, dude. Totally Mario. You
No,
just
the
showed us.
package. Right, but the packaging has Luigi on it.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Poor Luigi can't even get his own candy.
I know.
Oh,
I'm stuck
is
on the
Mario.
box.
oh yeah, like the Mike Wazowski with the sticker. Look, they put my face.
Yeah.
This
I'm
one,
on TV.
What on earth?
this one. So I think it's probably like chocolate that you like suck off or you eat, and I think there's like some toys that's on it. But I was at the Japanese market that I normally go to, and I used to get like the koala bears there. That's like in that green little box that I love. I normally go there to get it, and I seen anytime they got Nintendo candy, I always run and get it. I can't read a lick of Japanese, but I love getting anything that's Nintendo related there. And the last thing that I picked up is some Chip Ahoy, the soft chewy s'mores. Good. Yes, they got a s'more flavor of the Chip Ahoy's, chewy ones in a red bag, and they are good. Good.
Don't tell me this.
Yes. So
I
that's
don't know
all
how
the
I feel
things.
about this. All this food. Like, now I'm hungry. I'm like really hungry now, even though we just ate dinner like 2 hours ago. It's fine.
Yes. So everybody, that has been our Snacktendo. I know a lot of people in the Discord has been posting some things. Shout out to Dan with his Auditor 415. There was a homemade pizza. Dan made. Logan went to the movie theater to get some food. Dan had his deck with a hot dog and chicken sandwich, I think. That was really good. And still Shane has posted some food too. And that's all on our Discord. Oh, and Celeste, yes, your candy that you was talking about with it is on our Discord Snacktendo page. So you guys can check that out. Yes, also. And I did have it's not a melon flavor pop with the little marble in it. I had that flavor.
Ramune.
Yeah, I had one of those. So
Did you like it?
yeah. Love it. Well, everybody, we're going to get into our game fact advance, and mine is kind of short. It's about Sin and Punishment. Sin and Punishment is a rail shooter and shooting gallery video game co-developed by Treasure and Nintendo. Originally published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64 in 2000, Sin and Punishment takes place in the near future of 2007, where humanity is struggling with a global famine. Scientists develop a new species to raise as food, but the creatures revolt and war breaks out. The player takes on the roles of Saki and Aaron as they fight to save Earth from destruction. The game employs a unique Nintendo 64 control layout, utilizing both the D-pad and control stick. This control scheme allows the player to strafe, jump, and dodge around the screen while simultaneously aiming the target reticle. The player must shoot at enemies and projectiles while also dodging attacks to survive in to progress through the game. The development of Sin and Punishment lasted longer than the usual for the era. Development commenced in 1997 with only 4 staff members and concluded in 2000 with more people involved than in any Treasure previous projects. When I read that this game took 3 years to make, and they started out with only 4 people. I'm like, wow. And Sinner's Punishment is mostly almost like, if anyone has heard of Space Harrier, it's a rail shooter where you kind of fly around and you shoot projectiles and everything. When I knew about Sinner's Punishment, and I knew that it never came to America, but it showed up on the Wii Virtual Console. I didn't know that it took that long to make that game. And that it only started out with 4 people. I'm like, wow. So that is your game fact advance. If you own a Wii U, both Sin and Punishment and Sin and Punishment Star Successor is on it. Go pick it up and play it, because we're about to get into some family news, and I'm so excited for one particular story. So David, take it away. Oh, right. Before you take it away, though, it's time for family news. Yes.
Yes, David, thank you, because I had to do that last week, and it did not come off as whatever. Cheerful? Yeah. We'll use that word, cheerful.
All right. Well, thank you, Ed. And that was an interesting game fact advance. I had never heard of that game. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I was so confused when you were talking about Sin and Punishment to start our segment. All right. Well, let's get to the news here. So our top story today is that Metroid series tops the Wii U eShop's best sellers list.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this as Jacob was sharing what he's been playing lately. So this little bit of a write-up comes from NintendoLife.com from Liam Doolam. Quote, over the past week, Nintendo lifted the lid on Metroid 5. No, it's not the sequel to the Metroid Prime we're still waiting on. It's part of the original series dating all the way back to the NES era. This new entry, known as Metroid Dread, is being co-developed by Mercury Steam and has already been seen as pre-order success on Amazon and at retailers like GameStop. On top of this, a number of Nintendo fans are getting ready for the new game this September by playing through Samus's older adventures. As a result, sale prices of the older titles have gone up online and over on digital stores. Metroid games are selling like hotcakes. So I believe, I actually don't have the list in front of me. I thought I did, but I believe 3 of the top 5 selling games on the Wii U eShop right now are Metroid games, which is pretty remarkable.
Yep, it's Zero Mission is 1, Fusion is 2, and Super Metroid is 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
I just looked it up because I just was one of those people that went and bought those games, so... Whoops.
We could have a whole other segment on the Wii U eShop, which hopefully someday we get something like that on the Switch.
I know.
Okay.
Nintendo took a big risk by bringing back a seemingly stalled franchise, and now they're cashing in big time. So should Nintendo take note and do something similar with other older franchises, and which titles would you like to see? So, Jacob, we'll start with you as somebody that's been doing that a lot this week. What do you think about this?
I love it. The Metroid series is a series that has always played kind of second chair to band reference to Zelda and Mario and even Kirby to some extent, because like Kirby consistently gets games, but even though they're pretty much kind of the same. And Metroid deserves its day in the sun. It's a wonderful series. I had never finished a Metroid game except for Metroid Prime, but I've played a lot of the Metroid games. I've played every Metroid game a little bit, and so with this Dread coming out, I was like, you know what? I need to be a good Nintendo fan and go beat the dang games. And so that's why I've been taking that journey. And this is you're gonna side with Becca here on this, but playing through those games back to back like this, and really just diving in deep and knowing being an adult playing those games, Metroid has actually kind of started to outshine Zelda for me. A little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Zelda absolutely, like it's like, well, do I like Metroid more than Zelda? I don't know. Zelda means so much to me, but Metroid is so good. And yeah, like I'm starting to have like that debate in my head on whether or not Metroid is actually my favorite Nintendo franchise or not, because there's the throughput between all the games, even the Prime games, because I have those as well. I'm not worrying about beating them before Dread comes out. It's there, man. Its timeline makes sense. Like the gameplay is phenomenal, and it's so phenomenal that it doesn't have to change between games. It just is wonderful, and it really fills you with it fills you with a sense of like, yes, I'm the one who figured this out and did this. And it also has the benefit of having the what's called avatar power, where Samus gets stronger, and so like you're able to beat the harder guys. But it's so fun to get lost in those worlds.
Well, it certainly has a very passionate franchise, which fans, which is one of the reasons the franchise has managed to stick around in spite of being ignored by Nintendo. Ed, what about you? Do you think that there are other classic games, as somebody who's played through the library of Nintendo, that could use this sort of same treatment that Metroid has gotten?
Oh yes, everybody is now hoping for F-Zero. Is one of the most popular racers of the Nintendo franchise, and they even got an arcade game, kind of almost like Mario Kart. And people have been wanting this game to come back, definitely with the success of Wipeout on PlayStation. They feel like if Metroid is getting all of this love, definitely, because it's definitely been always loved in America, but it's always been in Japan, it's like just been ignored. So, and it's kind of hard to say thing with F-Zero, is that it's been ignored in Japan, but it's still a big thing here in America. So F-Zero is definitely one of the biggest things that people are hoping for. I would love to see F-Zero come back. And, I know a lot of people love Metroid, but F-Zero was the game that really showcased about speed and difficulty and challenge and stuff. If people feel like Mario Kart was too easy, F-Zero was definitely the challenge that people loved and needed. So I could definitely see that coming back. And like even with the detective game, that the Famicom detective thing, maybe we could see more stuff like that get remade and come out here in America. It's kind of showing that Nintendo that if you bring these properties over or even make something new, chances now with the community and the gamers of now, there's more support now than it was in the past. So I could see a lot of more games come out. I can even see Capcom getting Nintendo be like, let's make another top-down Zelda game.
Well, Celeste, was Metroid one of the games that you played growing up, and are there other older titles besides Mario's Missing that you'd like to see Nintendo bring back?
I feel exposed right now. Well, I've actually never played Metroid. In fact, my introduction to that series, it was the original Super Smash Brothers because of Samus. And I would like to play a Metroid game. I know I have it. It's at my disposal. I have no excuses. But you teased me about Mario is Missing, but hear me out. I would really... I would love to see Nintendo. Of course, they'd have to team up with some third-party developers. I would love to see Nintendo bring back edutainment games, especially now. Kids have tablets, kids have phones, and I think it'd be really cool, especially with, I'm thinking like Duolingo. How cool would it be to learn Japanese, French, German, whatever, with Mario and some different characters? I think they need to marry those ideas again. I grew up playing Mario Teaches Counting, Mario's early years with preschool, and that made the kind of boring aspects of life, like going to the grocery store, more exciting. Mario shops at the grocery store and he counts his eggs. I don't know. I think that'd be fun.
I kind of think that Nintendo is doing they're doing educational games in a different way. Like I know the kind of games that you're talking about, but I mean, like, you look at Labo, you look at Game Maker Garage, you look at, you know, the Korg music thing that's available on there. Like, you even look at something like a Ring Fit Adventure almost as like it's educating you on, you know, fitness and stuff like that. So it's like they are doing some things that way, but like it would be cool to see them get back into the classroom, like a classroom style educational thing.
And I think because they have been having success on mobile, I think it could succeed there on mobile. Mm-hmm. Like you get a brain age design game for mobile. And put it for $5. I think it would do wonders.
I can't believe there's not a brain age game on Switch. Where's my brain age on Switch?
I think they're planning on bringing out one. There's rumors about it.
I think there was once planned for Japan only. I believe that's what I think we had a story on it a while back.
Why? Because they're the only people that need to be smart?
I mean, they're the only ones that have proven that they can use it.
All right. We're going to move on to our next story. So this is also from Liam Doolam from NintendoLife.com. Sword and Shield leakers required to pay the Pokemon Company $150,000 each. So, in 2019, the Pokemon Company International filed a lawsuit against two individuals who leaked images of Pokemon Sword and Shield from an unreleased strategy guide prior to the new game's official release. Both defendants were ordered to pay the Pokemon Company $150,000 each for the damages and attorney's fees. The defendants worked for a company that had been hired to print the strategy guide. They took pictures on the job and then distributed them online. Ooh. At the time, the Pokemon Company's legal representation said it caused irreparable injury to the brand and undermined the carefully cultivated excitement and interest in the new games. The leak itself revealed the Gigantamax forms, evolutions, and more. So for our consideration, there have been a series of these rulings lately with defendants being forced to pay out large sums of money to Nintendo or Pokemon Company in this case earlier this year. Will these rulings be enough to change the culture around intellectual property theft? Was this a reasonable penalty considering how successful Sword and Shield were? So Celeste, we'll start with you. What do you think? Is this going to change people's approach to intellectual property theft?
I don't know. Going after Nintendo. I mean, we've talked about this so many times. Nintendo's a big dog in this game.
They're probably the toughest dog in this game too, you know.
But even with so many people being forced to pay out this year, do you think that's going to get people's attention?
I don't know. I feel like big companies like Disney and Nintendo, we hear about these stories and people get very incensed very quickly, and then the flame is blown out just as quickly. People move on to the next distraction. I don't know. What do you think?
I want to think that people are going to start getting a little more nervous about it because the sums of money have been so large. That I think is what's grabbing my attention a little bit. I'm actually kind of curious about whether or not this was a fair settlement. They claim that there was irreparable injury because the strategy guides were released. Jacob, you're somebody that's played a lot of Pokemon. Do you? I mean, with successful as Sword and Shield have been, do you feel like this was was there really irreparable damage to Sword and Shield?
Yeah, so while you were giving the news, while you were talking about it, I was like, yeah, no, I agree. People that break the law should. This isn't breaking the law, but that whole thing of like, don't come on, man, don't ruin other people's surprises and new information and stuff like that. But then you said irreparable damage, and I had to Google it because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I have to make sure. Pokemon Sword and Shield was the best-selling Pokemon game since Gold and Silver, which is at the height of Pokemania. Like, I think irreparable damage is a little strong for their sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure in some way they could argue like, oh, well, it would have been even better selling if this didn't happen, but like, that irreparable damage makes it sound like the Pokemon as a series is dead now.
Yeah,
right.
I wonder how many people even knew this even happened that picked up Pokemon, right? Like
I had no idea until David.
Yeah, I didn't have any idea this it leaked either. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, I knew that the game leaked, but I don't think that this was it exactly. I think this was like other information and things like that, which the game leaking, I get mad about leaks when they come from the inside, when somebody from within the company that is creating this thing spreads that information. But like whenever companies send out games for review or like press things or anything like that, and then that press leaks it, that press is like, we don't care about the NDA and things like that. That I'm like, okay, well, shame on you, press, but like I can't be mad about it because you're trying to do your jobs, trying to make your site relevant. But when they come from the inside like this, it just really that's what irks me, because like, man, you're like, you have a job that so many people would love to have, and you're doing stuff like this.
Do they not sign NDAs?
They do. That's like that. They're just like saying, whatever, which is why Nintendo can get away with suing and like taking legal action against them, because you sign paperwork, you sign a contract. Yeah, but it's.
Well, I just sometimes like with stuff like this. I mean, I guess I remember at the time when this stuff leaked, but I guess I just assumed cynically that this is all part of a PR strategy to get the word out about the games and generate buzz and excitement. So the fact that this really was like a hostile thing that they ended up winning a suit over really surprised me. Ed, we'll give you last word on this. What do you think of this story?
I think them getting their money is a good thing. The leak, I kind of feel like this because the Pokemon company, they control the information that leaks out and stuff. And so, they probably was thinking about this could have caused an upset for a lot of people learning this information, which could have affect sales. When things just look at The Last of Us Part 2. When stuff was coming out and leaked about that, Sony could have had more sales if that stuff didn't come out. And so stuff like that could hurt a game and everything. So, and it could also like hurt the series, because now they're going to be blaming Nintendo for this because this information came out, even though Nintendo might not control that content or anything. So if it hurts their sales or their chances of having bigger sales and everything, they need to collect their money. This doesn't stop people from doing it, though. People are we talked about people still taking Nintendo IPs and making games out of it and everything, and sometimes try to make a profit out of it. Last month we talked about that one guy who went to court for
represented
Nintendo
himself.
And look at how he ended up making this money and stuff. And I even talked to LeRon about this, just like, why is it always Nintendo IPs and property that people want to fool around with when they don't play? People still have that ego thinking that they could get away with stuff. No, if Nintendo comes from you, you just better drop everything, change your name, and just leave America or wherever you at. Go to a country that don't have.
To play devil's advocate here,
I think he went from 0 to 100 really quickly.
Now, I'm not agreeing with this guy. Like, I think leaking stuff is bad, right? But to play devil's advocate here, especially like the story we talked about last month, it's extremely difficult to play old Nintendo games on modern hardware, right? Like, it's just.
I would disagree. I think it might be expensive, but it's not difficult.
To play,
it's not accessible.
Like to play
Okay,
N64 and GameCube games on my Switch is
on your Switch, sure, but
that's what
on
I'm
your
talking
Wii U,
about.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is like I don't
you
know.
Go buy
like,
a Wii U.
Yeah, like I feel like I feel like it's it's two-toned because because you don't want to have to go out and buy a whole nother system to play a bunch of different games, but like at the same time I don't know if that makes it necessarily difficult, just expensive, because you have to go buy all those games again rather than them providing a cheaper way to buy it. Because now you can't buy Metroid Fusion for $7.99 on the Switch. You know, you have to go buy spend $120 on a Wii U and then go play it there. But I don't know if that necessarily makes it difficult.
To be fair, I have my Wii U and my GameCube hooked up right here next to me. It's fine.
And I just wonder, and I will turn it back over to you, David. I just wonder if you know Nintendo is going to come for you and they're going to get their coins because of the lawsuit. Go do stuff with Sony and Microsoft stuff. If they're not caring about anything about their products, go do that and get away with it. And see what happens. Like, don't touch Nintendo stuff at all. Don't leak none of their stuff. If you know that they are not a company to not mess with, don't do business with them. Don't sign no contract. Let Nintendo handle what Nintendo does. Stay away from them, because the moment you sign something, they're going to be on your tail.
Well, it does seem, and I would have to go back to look, but it does seem like the legal decision and award have been much larger recently than in past months. So it does seem like they're pushing to really make statements and prioritize this more than the past. So I am curious about that. All right, we're going to move on to our next story. So Nintendo to give Forever Entertainment significant financial support and new publishing deal. This is from Ryan Craddock at Nintendo Life. Forever Entertainment SA has announced a new publishing deal with Nintendo, which will see the studio receive financial backing to launch, quote, several games on Switch. Details of the agreement have been shared in a new report filed Friday, June 22nd. It notes that Forever Entertainment will be granted significant financial support from Nintendo to release several titles on Nintendo Switch. Release dates for these games will be communicated in separate ongoing reports. Forever Entertainment has already released lots of games on Switch, including last year's Panzer Dragoon remake. So, curious what you think about this move. Do you think Nintendo should try to lock down services of other studios like this to gain more exclusive content? Is there any downside to this? What are you looking forward to with something like this? Jacob, we'll start with you. What's your reaction to this story?
Start with somebody else. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I was zoned out reading about something.
No, you're good. You're good. What about other folks on the panel? Did any of you play Panzer Dragoon remake?
I didn't play it, but I heard it, like, when it initially released, it wasn't great. I know they had a lot of patching and stuff to like get it to where it could be. I mean, it was playable, but like get it to run where like people actually wanted to play it, right? I just feel like I don't really even know anything about Forever Entertainment except that they kind of do port work and kind of like light remake work. So if they're going to remake some stuff, sure, I'll play remakes all day if you want to give them to me. I'm going to try to look them up and see what they've done.
Yeah, I guess that for me, that was the significant part of this story, is this idea that Nintendo's bringing aboard and committing significant financial support to companies that specialize in remakes and remasters, because we've talked extensively about Nintendo's library of games that are inaccessible, the success that they've had with bringing these back. So I feel like if we kind of look at these news stories, it seems to be establishing a larger pattern that Nintendo is seeing this business opportunity. And it makes me curious about what 3 games they're going to be making and what that's going to look like. I also, obviously these things are unconnected, but I think about Bethesda and what Xbox did there and how that partnership works so well. And Nintendo can't really counter in that way. They can't bring a big company on board. But I wonder if Nintendo can counter by bringing a bunch of little companies together and having sort of this patchwork of adding just a whole lot of depth to their game library. So that was kind of my thoughts of that. Ed and Celeste, what do you two think?
I think this is something new for Nintendo. Going actually outside to kind of a lesser known company to bring titles to their console. This is a new way of doing exclusivity for certain titles, especially if they're, like Corey said, doing remakes or just even like a small little indie games that people are excited about. Forever Entertainment could be like, oh, we have seen the hype for this game. They're only going to be working on digital. How about we go talk to them, make a deal, and know that we could bring it to Nintendo's platform, and they may sell like 200 some thousand copies, and like give Nintendo, of course, their money back, but also give these developers a chance to be like recognized and be able to sell more games. And so, like, Forever Entertainment can become that new kind of third/second party kind of company for a lot of indies, and maybe titles from Japan for indie games that's never came out. There is a chance to grow a lot of developers, and if this is going to help them be able to publish more titles for Nintendo, for Switch and future consoles, or even handhelds, or even like mobile, this is a great deal. This opens up more opportunities for games to come to the system, because everybody still think that Nintendo don't got games coming, or they don't have games for Switch, and I'm like, they got 1,000+ some games, and this just adds more to the library. So I think this is great for them. This is something new, and like you said, Nintendo don't have to spend all that money trying to get a publisher to bring exclusive games, like full out buy them out. No, they be like, hey, let's go to the places that people are not paying attention to, and like give them some recognition.
I agree with what you were saying, David, about Bethesda and Microsoft. Nintendo wants a piece of that pie as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We're at such an interesting moment in... we don't have the console wars anymore. I really do think that that's kind of thing in the past. In a lot of ways, it's sort of the best time in gaming history, I feel like, with what each of the consoles have to offer. And it seems like this is Nintendo's way of doing things. Like, Ed, you said it so beautifully, to pay attention to the spaces no one's looking at. I think that they do that really well. And there's just all these little gems that you can find on the Switch. So I like how Nintendo's doing business right now. Corey, Jacob, any final thoughts as we close out this story?
I was just looking up some of the games that they've done. It looks like they're more of a publisher than a developer. Binary Star Infinity is like one of their more recent games. It's kind of like,
yes, it's so good.
Yeah, that's something from theirs. Panzer Dragoon. They've done one of my favorite games in where'd it go? It's I always forget the name because I hold on, I'll find it. They did the Fear Effect top-down Fear Effect Sedna. They brought that back. Thief Simulator they've done. So they've done a lot of... Phantom Doctrine is the strategy game that I really, really like. And they published that. So they've actually done a lot. They actually have a line of kids games surrounding a teddy bear called Teddy the Wanderer, it seems like. So... yeah, I didn't realize they've done this much. There's probably like 40 something games listed. Gravekeeper they did. So Cooking Simulator, they do the Fishing Simulator games. So they've done a lot. I'm quite impressed with this lineup, actually. So this seems like a good move for Nintendo to get some of these games onto Switch, because I know I've played some of their games there.
Yeah, so I was also looking through the titles, and there's a lot of them that aren't available on the Switch, and there's a lot of them that are available on the Switch already. And so I'm kind of interested to see what, or like, because I feel like Nintendo wouldn't just, I don't know. I like where Ed was coming from with the idea to putting focus on a spot that doesn't have a lot of focus, but I feel like Nintendo wouldn't do that without a reason to do that would personally benefit them. And I don't think, just looking at the games that they have, I don't think that there's a whole lot on there that is not currently on the Switch that is like, oh, hey, we'll help you out if you bring these to the Switch. I think that this is going to be something totally new, and I'm excited to see what that is going to be. But I don't know if it's necessarily just to put a spotlight on them, since they kind of already are spotlighted with having as many games as they do on the Switch right now. But
All right. Well, thank you, panel. We're going to move on to our last story of the day here for family news. So Nintendo of Europe features 2022 lineup. So this was a tweet that happened recently this week, and they had a really helpful infographic showing just how many big name games Nintendo's got coming out. So this is from Dan Murphy from BossRushGames.com. During E3, Nintendo presented a packaged direct full of new and expected games, which gave us an insight of what's coming down the line for the 2021 and 22 releases. This week, Nintendo of Europe released a helpful graphic to help us keep track of what's coming. And since our viewers can't see the graphic, I'll just spotlight a few of them. So obviously out now, feature on there is Miitopia, Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, and Bravely Default 2. And then the next phase for summer 2021, we have just started Mario Golf, Outer Wilds, Skyward Sword HD, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, No More Heroes 3, Ace Attorney Chronicles, and Legend of Mana. And then in the autumn, we have Sonic Colors, Guardian of the Galaxy, Super Monkey Ball, Metroid Dread, Life is Strange, Diablo 2, and WarioWare. And for winter 2021, we have Mario Party Superstars, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Just Dance 2022 for those diehard fans. And then off into 2022, we have the new Mario Rabbids game, Project Triangle Strategy, Pokemon Legends, and Splatoon 3. So we wrap this up. What do you guys think of Nintendo's 21-22 lineup? How do they stack up against Xbox and PlayStation? Now that E3's settled, the dust is settled, we kind of have a general sense of the gaming landscape for this next year. And are there any titles that have you most excited? So Corey, we'll start with you.
I think Nintendo has a very, I wouldn't say it's like the best holiday lineup they've ever had, but it's definitely a lot of great games, right? I mean, they have Pokemon coming out, which is obviously their top tier thing coming out. New Metroid, it seems, is going to sell pretty wildly. I feel like there's a lot of complementary games in this lineup, which, works to their favor, I think, because there's 85 plus million Switches out there at this point, with Advance Wars 1 and 2 coming out. Sonic Colors is a great Sonic game by all accounts. And then moving into next year, we have Pokemon and Zelda and all that stuff. So I think Nintendo has a really strong lineup, but I feel that way every year that, they have, one or two kind of heavy hitters for the year, and then they have a lot of complementary things. I'm excited for a lot. I actually made a list of the games that I'm excited for. First of all, Monster Hunter Stories 2, which I will talk about when we get to playing with power. I have had zero interest in Monster Hunter for a long time. Like, there's been times where I'm like, maybe I'll get this one, maybe I'll play it. And I did that with Rise. I'm like, maybe I'll play it, maybe I'll get it. Then I didn't. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is one heck of a game to keep it family friendly. Obviously, Skyward Sword HD, I think a lot of people are going to give that game a second chance because A, it's on Switch, B, you don't have to use the full motion controls, which is what I'm excited for. I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 is going to get a lot of people excited just because it's we don't really have Persona, but this is the series that Persona spun off of, and it's on I think 3 and 4 were on 3DS, right? DS and 3DS respectively. So I really feel like this is the time for the series to become big. I feel like this is going to be the Persona 4 Golden of the series, right? Where people will talk about it, people want to play it, people want it on everything, right? Like, I feel like that's going to be a heavy hitter, and then Mario Party is going to sell 20 million units. I think.
Really? You think so?
Dude, I think so many people, especially parents, have so many fond memories of the Nintendo 64 Mario parties. And the fact that they're giving us the best of those games, and they're going to be able to play with their kids. Switch Lite, if people bought their kids Switch Lites, you're all going to be able to play together. You don't have to use the Joy-Cons. There's online play. This is the Mario Party that's going to get people excited. Super Mario Party was fine. It's kind of a letdown until they added online play, and then I could play with my friends. But I think this is the Mario Party that's going to people are going to be like, Mario Party's back, So I really do think Mario Party All Stars, or what's it called? Mario Party
Superstars.
Superstars.
All Stars Superstars.
Not to be confused with Super Mario Party.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they didn't just use Super Mario Party again, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is the Mario Party that's going to sell 20 million units. I'm calling it by this time next year. Maybe by Christmas next year. 20 million units. It's going to be up there.
Wow. All right. Jacob, you want to jump in?
Yeah. My wallet hurts.
Yeah.
As everyone says, this is such a crazy. Every single month has at least one $60 game that I want to buy. Corey had mentioned it that there's usually like a couple big hitters that are in, but then there are some that you're like, I'll wait a little bit. I've got some games in my backlog I need to play. Every single month has a game that I want to buy and play.
I didn't say wait a little bit. I said these are good library fillers.
Yeah. But that means that you could wait a little bit. You don't have to be there on day one.
I don't wait. We're not waiting around here.
No, we're not, because all of these games are wonderful. I did want to call attention to the Danganronpa Decadence.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep on Danganronpa. Momokuma is an amazing little teddy bear. Everybody will love him.
Amazing. He's scary. What are you talking about?
He's wonderful. He's so good.
No, he murders children.
He's an evil mess.
He's a wonderful bear.
He's like anime Saw is what Danganronpa is. He just makes everybody murder themselves.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong at all. Yeah, dude. Oh, I love Momokuma though. If I could get a giant Momokuma plushie to like snuggle with at night, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, don't sleep on Danganronpa. That's a great series. And then I also wanted to bring attention, kind of similarly to Mario Party Superstars, because I can't stress enough to those of you who maybe didn't grow up with the N64 Mario Parties about how wonderful they are compared to like the Wii U. I don't think there was one on the Wii U.
There was.
The Switch. There was.
Mario Party 10 was on the Wii U, and you rode in a car, and it sucked.
That was awful. It was awful. Those games are terrible. Mario Party Superstars has actually good boards and actually good mini games, and it has online play and the ability to pause your game and resume it later. So like, do not sleep on that. The only downside is that it's still only a 4-player board game, but that makes sense because it'd be hard to get more than that in there. But like,
we need 8 players. 8-player Mario Party. They did it for Smash. They can do it for Mario Party.
They can do it for Mario Party.
I want 8-player bumper balls, guys.
Oh, wow.
Also, one last thing for me is RIP to Just Dance. First time I think that Just Dance isn't coming out on the Wii since a very long time.
You can put your Wii's away, guys. Just Dance is
time to get a Switch now. Unfortunately, y'all got to put your Wii away to get your Just Dance.
Oh wow,
I love it.
So one of the things that this list made me think of, and then Celeste and Ed will get to you guys in just a moment, was back in February, I believe, Nintendo projected its numbers for this financial year, and they had massive numbers. And we thought at the time that must mean the Switch Pro's coming out, because how else could you explain them projecting that much profits? So looking at this list of huge games they got, and keeping in mind that we will probably get another direct here at the end of August or September announcing more games, does this start to fill that in for you a little bit now with those projected numbers? What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I think like you're projecting, right, you got 2 major Pokemon games, 3 technically, 3 Pokemon games coming out. You have a big seller in Mario Party. You have 2 Zelda games announced, right? You have a new Metroid, which is Amazon's top selling game for 2 weeks in a row now. Yeah, this is exactly what Nintendo was talking about, and you got a lot of indies coming. I'm sure we'll get an indie showcase sometime soon. I'm sure we'll get a indie or a third-party partner direct at some point. Like, I think Nintendo has masterfully crafted their release dates since the Switch has come out. Like, they've got a heavy hitter every month or 6 weeks, or every 4 to 8 weeks they have a heavy hitter, right, surrounded by a bunch of indies, maybe some niche Japanese games, right, or third-party games, right? There's a lot of third-party partners, it's been crazy seeing the droughts that the Wii U had and how much I loved that console, but you can't deny the drought of games that console had, right? To the fact that Switch has had major releases time after time, month after month, and it's just going to continue. And it just seems like every year, like, how can they top this? And then they end up doing it. Like we're getting Metroid Dread this year, guys. Like that game was announced in 2004. Okay, 2004. I was a junior in high school when that game was announced. Okay, I'm now 34 years old with 2 kids. This is a Kingdom Hearts situation here, guys.
Oh, good movie.
It's worse than that.
Ugh.
Right.
No, hopefully Metroid will be better than Kingdom Hearts 3. Be honest here.
Celeste, what about you? What are you looking forward to over the next year from Nintendo?
Super Monkey Ball.
Ooh.
WarioWare.
Ooh.
Life is Strange, although I do have the ability to play it on, I believe, Xbox. I believe this one. Those are the games I'm most looking forward to. I have such fond memories of WarioWare, especially. Who else has played it? Okay, if you just want nonsense with your friends, it's so ridiculous. The little, what is it? Fast time reaction. I think what's the term for it?
Quick time events?
Quick time events, like pulling someone's nose hairs in 3 seconds. It's just ridiculous. And it was really fun on the Wii to have to watch people do those motions. And Super Monkey Ball, I used to love playing pool with the little monkeys and their balls on the GameCube one. I'm really looking forward to those. And Skyward Sword. I'm looking forward to Skyward Sword. I still need to get Mario Golf. I didn't get it last weekend.
Because you don't sound so sure about Skyward Sword there, Celeste. You kind of...
I played it already, so it's... If I hadn't played it before, I'd be a little bit more excited. I like Skyward Sword. I really do. I love the little rimlets.
Can we talk about how great that art style is going to look in HD? Ed, remember when we used to have conversations about that early on the show? And like, Skyward Sword, if this was just like, if this was in HD, right? If they would just move it to the Wii U, like, this game would be amazing looking. Like, it would just, it
would be beautiful. Yeah, it is. Okay, I believe it's the Farron region with the forest and the water. It's like walking into a Monet painting. It is just beautiful. I am excited for it, Corey. It's just I played it already. I know what happened.
I know. I also played about 10 hours of that game, and I hated my life for those 10 hours.
10 hours?
Oh, gosh.
No, you've got to ride some mine carts.
Look, I will play it on the Switch because I don't have to do one of these, right?
The Skyward Strike is the worst. That didn't work.
Thank you, David. I had to get my then partner, my then boyfriend, to beat Demise for me because I was about to break the TV.
Waving the Wiimote, trying to get it to work while you're being stabbed to death.
Can I make a Skyward Sword prediction just real quick? The entire internet is going to absolutely hate the waggle sword controls with the joystick. No one's going to like that.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think I think everyone's so hopeful, and it's just going to be awful.
They did say they're making a lot of quality of life improvements similar to what they did with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, though. So I hope that includes some, maybe not like the bigger enemies where like, you're going to need to do certain strikes, but like, look, every time I see a Skulltula or like a Bogoblin or something, like I don't want to have to like figure out which strike to use to murder them, right?
The best quality of life improvement I think they could do on that is make the enemy's reaction speed slower.
Yeah.
So that you could have time to process what strike you needed to do and then do it and then
Well, I do think that I was going to say the Wiimote. That's not right. The Joy-Cons will be so much more fine-tuned that people actually probably will end up enjoying the motion controls. Ed, I want to get to you and your last thoughts, but let me just set it up by saying this. Earlier this year, PlayStation announced that they were going to focus on their blockbuster titles at the expense of other stuff. Looking at this list from Nintendo, they seem to have found a way to do blockbuster titles and have library stuffers. What do you think about that comparison?
Think of 2019. Just think of 2019, how they went from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Astral Chain, Link's Awakening, Dragon Quest 11, like they had all of these big games, but then you had something like Demon X Machina. You had all of these indie games that came out, and it was always a good balance of it. And they didn't focus; they focused on blockbusters if they wanted to, but they also gave airtime to the indie games. The indie directs, the indie world, even the stuff that was in Japan and the UK that America didn't know. They gave some kind of marketing to those games that was coming. So Nintendo has always been balancing stuff. It's just hearing that Sony is only going to focus on one thing because of definitely, I can understand why, because of sales. They're strong with their first party, and their first party games have made major sales, especially with them now bringing a lot of their titles to PC. That's more sales. So if something fails on PlayStation 5 that doesn't do well, they got PC, and the PC crowd will eat it up and give them better sales than the console. So definitely looking at this list, we haven't even talked about Disco Elysium that's coming. Plague's Tale, Innocence, and Requiem coming to Switch. Like, there's also games that's still being announced to fill out this list that we didn't even know. Fatal Frame, Water Black Maiden, like, people didn't even play that on Switch. They're giving this game a chance now on Switch. I mean, they come out on Wii U. So I think what Nintendo was doing is, it's like, this is still AAA, AA, indie games. It's just anything that, when they said in the E3 Direct that we have stuff for everybody. So if there's a particular game that's not for you, there's going to probably be another game that is for you. You may not even care about Metroid Dread, but hey, you might actually like you might actually like Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. They got stuff like that for you. So I think what they're doing for this year and what they got planned for next year is strong. Microsoft and Sony is struggling to get stuff out. Like, they're the most that Microsoft really got it. I would give that to them because they got Psychonauts 2 coming out. They got Halo Infinite coming out, and they got Forza Horizon 5 coming out. Those are big three games for Microsoft. They don't got nothing else really coming out for them. They got some indie games, but Nintendo got so much planned. It's gonna be like, where do I focus my game time at? Because yes, you got Game Pass for those games, and that's great. But Nintendo's going to be racking up money because people are going to be buying those games.
Yeah, I have one thought on that too, Ed. I know we want to move on to dock mode and stuff, but I have a lot of thoughts on everything that Ed just said. But I'm going to take the thing that pertains to Nintendo the most, right? Sony and Microsoft spend an exorbitant amount of money on their first party games, and bigger studios spend so much money on their games. Nintendo is the king of efficiency, right? And if they can't be perfect, they're willing to delay the game and put out something else, right? They have games that sit on shelves for years before they release them in case they have to fill a hole, right? Like, and they have that. They have almost all of the Wii U library coming over too, right? Like, we're missing 8 or 9 games total, I think, now, in terms of big Wii U games that haven't made it over. Xenoblade Chronicles X and 2 Zelda games, to name a few. But I feel like Nintendo, in terms of budgeting and time, and not time management, but like budgeting out games for themselves and being able to partner with other, like, Nintendo's the only company that's made money on every single console that they've ever put out. right?
Including the Wii U.
Yeah, including the Wii U.
Yeah.
And that's something that the other consoles can't say, right? Microsoft is losing a butt ton of money on the Xbox, but they can afford that because they're Microsoft, right? Like gaming is like 5% of their company at this point. Sony needs to have these major AAA titles that they will push money towards it to get it right, and that's great. But and you look at something like Breath of the Wild and how amazing that game is. Nintendo's the king of asset, efficiency. You see the trees and stuff. Yeah, they are able to hide the way their assets look, right? But it's still the same assets, right? You look at Mario, like the warp pipe is a warp pipe is a warp pipe, and that's why those game files are so small. Yeah, Sony's production values, you can look at them and say, yeah, they're more cinematic than Nintendo's. They take, you look at something like The Last of Us. I don't know if Nintendo is capable of making something like The Last of Us, but I don't want Nintendo to be capable of making The Last of Us. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that from Nintendo. And I think they're just the kings of efficiency and the kings of fun, and they know how to make a great game and where fun comes from. And I think that's why we all like Nintendo.
David, just with the two stories of the Wii U with Metroid and Forever Entertainment, that plays a part in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, what this fall is going to be looking like. People are going to be going out to buy games, whether it's going to be physically or digitally for Nintendo. So I think what they're doing, and definitely when we get to 22, we still have Bayonetta, we still have Metroid Prime 4, we still have Breath of the Wild, whatever that is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, next year is stacked. You look at the AAA games that are, you could realistically say could come out next year. Pokemon Legends, Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3. Yeah. And, probably some sort of Smash Ultimate Gold Edition or something where, like, hey, all the characters out. Next year, we're going to make a big celebration of, hey, here's the edition that comes finished with all the characters, Like,
right. And
that's 7 games right there that next year. 7 massive AAA games.
And I think that's when Nintendo... Months. Yeah. And that's when Nintendo has to worry about Microsoft, not Sony yet. So that's it.
I did. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, Jacob, take us out. You'll be our last comment, and then we'll just turn it over to Ed.
So Nintendo is very good at this at balancing everything because they've done it for so long, because they've had handheld and console, and they've had to make great games for both and keep both of them afloat, and that's made everyone go, oh, well, they're not releasing a whole lot of console games this year because they're focusing on handheld. Now they don't have to do that. And then the second thing is you had mentioned about how, like, they had really high projections. Their fiscal year ends March 2022. That's when their fiscal year ends, is the end of the first quarter of the year. So they could easily release the Switch Pro during that, like they did with the regular
like in
Switch.
February, and they could be like, oh, we're going to release it in February and boost our numbers if we need to. That's right. Probably, you see all these Switch Pro rumors. Sorry, I know we need to move on. You see all these Switch Pro rumors. If they are like with it, it's probably one of those projects that's just sitting on the shelf, right? Like these games that they're waiting to release, right?
Microsoft shelf.
Yeah, it's just like Microsoft shelf. So, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
No,
it's all right. That was a great conversation. Did you finish your thought, Jacob?
No, that was it. It's just like that they have stuff that they can release, but they don't need to because it's their, like, oh no, we're not doing well. Let's drop Metroid Trilogy. Let's drop Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild 2, but like that they can always dip into stuff that's really easy that they can get out real quick. The day they release Mother 3 in translation is when you're like, maybe Nintendo's not doing so hot, because that's like the thing that
last year they released Animal Crossing and Paper Mario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Hyrule Warriors.
And
Hyrule But like it only takes one game from them to boost their numbers in an insane way. So it is better.
All right, crew. Well, that has been a very fascinating discussion and the end of our family news segment. So, Ed, we're back to you.
All right, everybody, it's time for Doc Mode. In this second episode of Nintendo Pow Block Celebration, we're joined by our friends to talk about what Nintendo Pow Block means to them and just have a discussion about memorable moments on the show. So, Jacob.
Well,
Celeste.
hold on. I have Dan's. I want to play Dan's first. You know, Dan's not here. The plan was to have everybody here, right? Like, it's a Smash Ultimate situation. Everybody's here. But I want to. Dan couldn't be here because I think he said he's working. But I want to play his message real quick. This is the first time I'm listening to it. I don't know if you guys probably won't be able to hear it, but the live audience will be able to hear it, and then people in the, playing the show on the podcast feeds will be able to hear it. So I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna press play. Maybe. Hold on. Here we go. Technical difficulties. Nope. Here we go. Let's see. All right, everybody, just be quiet. I haven't listened to this yet, so it's 4 minutes and 27 seconds long. So bear with me.
Hey everybody, it's Dan here. Sorry I couldn't make it to episode 250. I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. I just wanted to chime in and give a little bit of background on how I got onto the show and just the relationships with the people I met and what the show means to me. So I think I joined back in August or September of 2020. You know, the pandemic kind of forced us all onto the internet and meeting people online and really kind of figuring out new hobbies and everything like that. I've been a guest on the Super Switch Heads podcast, which Celeste Roberts had listened to. And her and I were friends on Twitter. I don't even remember how we ended up being friends on Twitter. I think I just found her through another Zelda podcast. But she had reached out and said, we're looking for people to do PlayStation or Xbox podcasts or anything like that. And I actually reached out to her and said, I don't really know much about them, but if anything, Nintendo pops up. So she actually had me on to guest for an indie episode with Ed and Corey and Celeste. And there was that indie direct that dropped in August of last year. It had Hades, it had Raji, it had Evergate, had a whole handful of games. And being on that episode, it was just really fun. It felt like we were just hanging out, talking with friends, and it flowed really nicely. And these guys ended up inviting me back, which was great. And I didn't expect it. So going forward, I spent time guesting here and there on Pow Block until about October-ish or November, when they needed to fill seats because Celeste ended up leaving and Corey had other things to do. So I ended up taking a full spot with David at the same time. And it's been just such a fun experience since then. Working with Corey has been great. He's so supportive all the time. Anything I bring up to him that I want to do, he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. We'll support you the whole way. The thing is, half the time I don't even finish what I suggested to him anyway, but he's always there for me. Working with Ed has just been a pleasure. I wish I had a quarter of his energy or even match his enthusiasm at all. It's really just a fun time podcasting with him. He's so knowledgeable and just so entertaining to have around. Celeste, I can't thank her enough just for even getting me onto the show and promoting other people and just putting things out there for everybody. So it was really nice having Celeste around. I hope she comes back more often. David, you can't say enough about him. He has been absolutely killing it with this website. I've been kind of helping him out with that, and he's just very professional, just a very, very easy person to work with. David's been a good friend, and I'm glad I've met everybody through this. And Jacob too, Jacob is always impressing me with everything that he does. You know, he streams all the time. He helps produce our show. When he handles our Twitter account, it's excellent. And on top of that, he's taking care of his own personal life. And it's really cool to just see how everybody works and how the Nintendo Pow Block team just works. We have a deep bench. We have people that are enthusiastic. It's just such a great show to be on, and I'm so happy to be part of it, and I can't wait to see what comes next in the next 50 episodes when we get to episode 300. So thank you for everything, guys. I appreciate everybody who listens to the show and promotes us and joins our community online, and I will see you next episode. Bye.
All right. So you just heard Dan's message, everybody watching and stuff. That was the first time I listened to it. I don't know if you guys were trying to listen to it through the stream or anything, but I'm glad, even though he's not here, I'm glad Dan is a part of this team. I'm glad everybody here is a part of this team. I just kind of, Ed and I already had a 2-hour show gushing about this show, right? I just want to say one thing, because I don't really have a lot to say. When Ed and I started the show, we had, it was me, Ed, and Adrian, who's a developer over at the Frozen Machine. Great guy. We just wanted to hang out and talk about Nintendo, right? We never thought this is where we would be. We never thought any of this at the time. And yeah, we had goals, we had things that we wanted to try to do, but it was never to this extent. And the fact that the 6 of us, and pulling people in from Boss Rush or guests or other places, and it just I never thought when we started this show that we would be doing it 6 years later, let alone having just the best people to work with. It's just been a pleasure the last few months, and I kind of went through I don't want to say a hard time, but like when I left, to kind of fix other areas of Boss Rush and try to lift up those areas. Like, as much as it pained me to give up hosting the show and give up my, being on the show for a couple months and trying to lift up other shows, I knew that this show was in good hands. Like, I wasn't, this is the show that I'm never worried about. If I'm here, if I'm not here, right, the show will go on. If Ed's out, somebody can host, right? Like if David's out, one of us can take on news, right? Like if I'm out, Jacob can produce, right? Like this is the only show that I don't worry about, and I just want to thank you guys for making this show infinitely better by being here and pulling your weight and being fun and knowledgeable and energetic and passionate. And David, you do a lot with the website and stuff. Like I can't thank you enough for that. Celeste with 1v1s and the interviews and stuff. Like, I listen to those probably 3 or 4 times before they're actually posted. But it's and Ed, you and I don't need to say anything about you. We already did that. And Jacob, like you were a nice surprise addition, right? Like I'm glad you're here, and that that used to be a big joke when I would say, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here," for other people, right? But like you're just as passionate as Ed in a different way, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun when you're here, and obviously Dan, like I love having Dan here too. He does so much work too, and it's just like, I don't know. This show means so much to me, and it means even more to me now than it did when we were just 2 idiots talking about our love for the Wii U, like, oh, Paper Mario Color Splash comes out in 6 months. Let's, I don't know, talk about Zelda again. So I don't really have much else to say. I just want to thank everybody for all the hard work and passion and fun that you bring to this show every week. So I'm gonna be done talking now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start with you, Jacob. What do you like? You coming on Nintendo Pow Block? Like, what are your thoughts about it?
Man, I kind of have to echo a little bit of what David said. Not David, I'm sorry, Dan. But I feel like David might have a similar story. I'm not sure. In that Celeste brought me here. I saw Ed's call out for anyone who could join for the show, because Celeste retweeted it, and I remember it perfectly. I was sitting at my desk at work. It was almost time to clock off, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll send out an I'm down and see if they're up, like if they haven't gotten anybody yet. I don't know how long the tweet's been out there for. And sure enough, Ed got back to me and was like, yeah, absolutely, come on in. And Celeste put in a good word for me. And that first episode that I was on, we talked about the Switch Pro, and that was Dan talking about, like, trying to defend the fact that he was going to get a shoe, and it was one of the best. Like, I don't know why my craziness clicked with y'all, but I'm really thankful for it. But like I remember talking about how, like, I predicted exactly how they were going to show it off, which never actually happened. Talking about like a dark stage, but Doug Bowser coming out and being like, 3 years ago we released the Switch. But it's the best part about Boss Rush in general, though, and Pow Block especially, because that's what I mostly interact with, is that, like, I've had a lot of things happen in my life where I get really distracted really easily, and even, like, Dan was talking about how he was impressed with what I do, but like I'm honestly not impressed with myself, but just surprised that I keep myself together, like, on a daily basis, because I'm so scatterbrained, and I'm constantly impressed by how much Ed and Corey and Celeste and David and Dan hold things together and get so much done while having their regular lives, because I feel like I get, like, I honestly have I had, like, an emotional battle with myself about, like, should I even be on this episode? Because, like, I don't really do a whole lot. Like, I mostly just kind of show up when I'm needed and talk about Nintendo, which is, I do that even if you didn't want me to. So, like, but the coolest thing about all that is that, like, there's never any judgment. There's never any, like, oh, I'm sorry, you called out for too many shows. You can't be on anymore. We don't have time for you. Like, I took a whole month off because I was working. I was helping my dad with his house, and I was working on my house. And I was just honest with Ed. I can't. I have to have one day off. Yeah, one night off, because I worked on Monday anyways. And it's like, Ed was like, yeah, go for it. It's okay. We'll be here right when you get back. And it's just like, my glasses are steaming up because I'm like blushing so much. It's just the vibe that Pow Block especially has is so special, in that it really is absolutely a family, and that people care about each other, and more than just I co-host a show with them. Like, it's a lot of love on Pow Block and on Boss Rush in general, and I'm happy to be a part of it, no matter how small of a part that I play. And I just consider myself lucky that I'm here.
Okay, David, how do you feel about Pow Block? What it means to you, and if you want to talk about some moments, you can. It's up to you.
Yeah, I stepped out of the room for a moment and didn't realize I could have listened to the Twitch stream of Dan, so I'll have to catch Dan's thing live. It's kind of obvious now, but I appreciate what everybody else was saying, and I was thinking about my own journey to get here. Actually, 1 year ago today, I started at Zelda Dungeon, and if that hadn't happened, Celeste never would have accidentally reached out to me instead of David Nystrom. So that was fortuitous, and worked out really well. And I remember we did a 1v1, we did a 1v1 together, Celeste, and not too long after Corey had asked about if I'd want to come on Pow Block, and I remember being really hesitant to do that because I'm a super big introvert in real life, and the thought of coming on a podcast kind of terrified me. But
that's why all my friends have end buttons on their screen.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know, I was just so glad to come on, and it's been life-changing for me. And I feel like it's been one of the best things about the pandemic. I know the pandemic has been really awful for a lot of people, but for me, it slowed that life down enough where I could do stuff that I'm really passionate about, like writing about games and coming on a podcast, and something about me in real life, being an introvert. I have a hard time making friends just because my default is just to be at home in front of my TV with my Switch or reading a book, and it's hard I have to force myself to be social, and apologies to all my friends over the years that I've lost for just disappearing on them. But with Pow Block, it does feel like family, and I feel like I found my people, if that makes sense. And Jacob, you talked about it not being a judgmental culture here, and I feel like that's so true. And one of the reasons why, as an introvert, I felt so safe to just kind of be myself is that it feels like we really have put together a community that's so welcoming, and I think Pow Block's a big part of that. So that I'll shut up now. That's kind of my thoughts on this last year. So
Pow Block is a big part of it. It's not just a part of it. It is the big part of it. Ed and Jesse and I were talking last night because, just a small behind the scenes things. We're really trying to figure out what to do with the Boss Rush podcast proper, because we created the Boss Rush podcast because we didn't really have time to do Arsenal X and Pow Block. So we kind of merged the shows, right? We took how many months was it, Ed? 3 months, I think, away from Pow Block, yeah. And people were upset that we did that, to say the least. But when we brought those two shows back, long story short, we're trying to figure out what to do with Boss Rush podcast because we don't want it to step on the toes of the other shows. But we say the Boss Rush podcast is the flagship show, the Boss Rush Network or whatever, but I put up a poll a couple weeks ago, what show do you feel like is the flagship show? And Pow Block won by 30%. Pow Block, I feel like Pow Block has built our community, right? This show means a lot. Nintendo means a lot to a lot of people, right? And the fact that we've built a show that is welcoming to all kinds of Nintendo fans, right? I'm totally different from Ed, who's totally different from Jacob, who's totally different from David and Celeste, right? We're all different people, but our love of Nintendo has brought us together, and we're all friends because of it. And that's what I love about Nintendo is it doesn't matter how old you are, how weird you are, how how family oriented you are, or how introverted you are, extroverted. Nintendo brings people together, right? It's the one thing that we can all point to, and we can all have a good time just talking about Nintendo games, and it's fun and it's exciting, and Switch has made it even more exciting than ever to talk about Nintendo. And yeah, sorry, I said I wasn't going to talk again, but you guys all mean so much to me, and I know I don't really say it a lot. I try to say, hey, thank you for what you're doing, right? Through DMs and whatever, but this show means so much to me, and you guys mean so much to me for helping us build this show into what it is, and the community and the people that we've met, and it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. So,
yeah. Celeste.
It's all Megan's fault. She reached out to me on Twitter, and Okay, I guess it's actually the WASD and Beyond guys' fault because they tweeted something about Pow Block and I liked it. And then Megan reached out to me and she said, "Oh, you're with Another Zelda podcast. Do you like other Nintendo games?" Yes, I sure do. And I was on the PlayStation recap episode for the showcase last year. And that was the first time I'd ever been on a podcast. And I felt really nervous because I don't play a lot of PlayStation games. And then they asked me to be on Pow Block. And I have a very fond memory of talking about food with Ed when he found out I live in Louisiana. He was like, "Can I marry your grandmother? Because I heard that Louisiana grandmas make the best gumbo." I was like, "No,
he did say that.
You want to be my grandpa?"
If you want to hear the very weird origins of Snacktendo, you can go back to that episode.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to tell my grandma about it. She probably won't know what I'm talking about because she still doesn't fully grasp what a podcast is. So bless her heart. But yeah, and then Corey and I had a really fun flying by the seat of our pants episode about our favorite beaches and Nintendo games. I love that episode. I love talking about locations.
You just tweeted about it last week, I think.
I did, because it's summertime. Let me know what your favorite beach in a Nintendo game is. And just, I don't really get to keep up with video games like everybody else does. It's really lame. It's really bad. But I didn't feel like I could contribute as much, so I like guesting whenever I can. The 1v1s are really my favorite. I love interviewing people. I might seem like an extrovert, but I think I'm an ambivert. I like meaningful conversations. I don't like small talk. I don't like schmoozing. But if someone's willing, I will find out everything about them within 5 minutes.
It is true.
Thank you all for letting me be my crazy, strange self on here and talking about food and band media with David and Dan and Galutrad, for being a fan of Another Zelda podcast and now being working with you, being a part of Boss Rush. I get a little verklempt because I think about sweet life moments, like in the Boss Rush Twitter chat, "Hey, look at my dog. Look, I'm this person's engaged. This person's going through a rough time," and I don't know. It's a good family feeling.
Yeah. For me, I definitely appreciate everyone who comes on. Definitely appreciate you guys helping me out, helping Corey out, like just coming on and talking about games and just being yourself, you know. We, like Corey said, we've been doing it for 6 years, and the moment Corey probably met me, he probably thought that I was odd or anything, but
I still think you're odd, Ed. That hasn't changed. I just know you more now.
But I think my oddness clicked in a sense because I think he saw how passionate I was about Nintendo and just doing regular talks and, you know, talking to you, Celeste, to you, Jacob, to Dan, to David, to Shane, to Stephanie, to Laura, to even Jesse, Jack, you know, Geek Bro, definitely talking to Beyond and EXP, talking about the console crew, like interacting with everybody. It always feels like I know you guys for a long time. It don't even take no more, like let's say I don't know everything about you in the 5 minutes. To me, within that 5 minutes, I feel like I've known you forever, in a sense. And with you guys came on Nintendo Pow Block and just help shape the show and have fun with me and even roll with the punches, be like, this feels weird, but then just get into it and realize that, oh wow, we just did a podcast, we just had an episode. It really means a lot to me, and it's really been a fun ride, and I can't wait to do more. Definitely with you, Celeste, talking about the food, and I was just like, Corey, we have to keep her. We can't let her go. You know, talking to David being my not only my editor-in-chief, but helping me with my writing, but talking all things Zelda. You know, the quiz show. I keep going back to the point that I asked LaRon that Zelda question, and you kept falling out. It's just like it's a hilarious moment in I apologize once again for calling Majora's Mask a side quest sequel, but I thought that was like but like talking to you, Jacob, being able to go on your stream and everything, you just recording the show when Corey was out and send it to me so I can get it edited, because I was having trouble with OBS, and I probably still do. But you coming in and helping with production and helping me and stuff, that really means a lot. So definitely, when not trying to make you cry or anything, when I sent you, for anybody who don't know, that I brought some eShop cards and sent that a certain amount for Jacob to play new Pokemon Snap, because he wasn't going to be able to get it. And I was just like, oh no, that's not going to happen. You have done so much that here's some money, go buy the game. And like literally on stream, he told the whole other community, even before he would continue the game, he just like, well, I guess I'm going to be playing Pokemon Snap with you guys. And that's the kind of family that I love, that I'm able to help out and do everything because you guys help me out to do it. And I feel like Nintendo Pow Block means a lot to me, because I think I even told you, Celeste, in my 1v1, that I was just like, I didn't have friends to talk about video games. And now 6 years later, I have a family of people, to talk all kinds of manner of video games, especially with Nintendo. Y'all know how crazy I go about Nintendo and stuff. So I really thank you guys. I thank you, Dan, definitely. When you hear this, I thank you just for coming on and, being able to lead the pack, be like, okay, we got to get this moving, keeping us straight and everything. But I love the fact that not only did you introduce indie games, but I get the nerd out with role playing games with you, JRPGs and everything. And I know that if I can't be on the show, you can handle the hosting and stuff. You don't have to be energetic. I just love when you host and everything, and you are organized way than me. David, you are organized way
I think
than
that's
me.
what we needed, though. Like you and I are so unorganized when it comes to this show. Like before everybody came on, it was just like oh, well, let's pull up some tabs and see what we can talk about.
Yeah. But it's been it continues to be a fun journey. And I love when everybody comes on. I'm trying to find a way to get Austin on, because he wants to talk about Nintendo. I like when LeRon comes on and we nerd out with him. And even though he may not be a big Nintendo fan, it's still great to hear from different shows and different
Hey, there's a new Monster Hunter game out. He'll be on.
He'll be on. Trust me, he'll be on. To nerd out and just, being able to just interact with you guys. And whether you listen to Nintendo Pow Block or you're just finding out about us, I want to actually thank the community and thank the listeners for listening to us for 6 years. Or if you are new to it, thank you for listening to us, for downloading the podcast, for watching the videos on YouTube, watching the pod clips, coming on our Discord, or even, commenting on our blogs and everything about Nintendo. It really matters, because it showcases that not only are you interested in, but the quality that we deliver. And our thing is just like with Nintendo, we just want people to have fun. You guys really make the show like really fun. We could disagree about some things at times. I could end up being wrong 95% of the times. I make wacky predictions and stuff, but I love to do that stuff with you guys, because I feel like it's really fun and it's a different way of thinking of things. So any last words for anybody before we get to Play with Power?
Just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for editing everything, Corey, because I know you receive a lot of footage. And thank you, David, for helping with the writing team and spearheading that. And thank you, Galatrad, for sharing your streams. And thank you, Ed, for being everybody's little ray of sunshine all the time. And
You can always count on Ed to make you smile if you're having a bad day. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. I've legit tweeted out stuff that I was like, I know Ed will respond to this, and he will not let me down.
Yeah, just thank you, everybody. Everybody, not just you 5 or 6 people here, like everybody in the live chats and the download the shows, leave us reviews, the Discord, the Facebook groups, like everybody, thank you. So
Yes.
Here's to 250 more, hopefully.
Yes. David, any last words on your part or anything?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the team, and I'm excited to see what the next 250 looks like.
All right. Well, everybody, with that, we're going to get into playing with power. David, what have you been playing with power?
I have been playing a ton of the Age of Calamity DLC, and I just love it. I think it's great, and I think when this game's all said and done, I think it's going to be just a masterpiece. I love it. I know that it's a very divisive game, and some people really didn't care for Age of Calamity, but I am so impressed by how well it was put together, and that the stuff that they've added in this first round of DLC is great. I also had an interesting experience this week as I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order, which I know is a little bit of a different style of game, but it's still a melee combat game. And what I think is interesting, I love how cinematic it is. I'm really enjoying my Xbox Series X, but when I came back to Switch and played some more Age of Calamity DLC, I was just blown away by how smooth the melee fighting is on Age of Calamity versus a game like Jedi Fallen Order, which I know that they're supposed to be a little different, but still, it just was so much more immersive on Nintendo, and it just reminded me what I love about Nintendo, which is that they put gameplay first. And, I dig the stories that they can tell on Xbox or PlayStation, but man, gameplay is fun on Nintendo.
Gameplay is king. If you can tell the greatest story you ever told in your life, but if the game isn't fun to play, I'm out. One of the biggest things I get is from people is like, "Oh, you don't like The Last of Us?" No, because I don't really care for dark tone stories like that. Like I just don't. But it's not fun to play to me. Like I think the shooting is bad. I think the movement is stiff. Like I just don't. And then when you like David, like you said, Age of Calamity or Breath of the Wild or something, is just gameplay is king. It will always be king. It's a game.
David,
you should play the game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
David, you're making the DLC a struggle because I'm trying to wait till November for the second part to come out before I buy it. I know it's a struggle because when you talk about it, I'm like, I want to buy it, but I'm just like, no, don't buy it. Wait for the second one to come out and then go get it and I'll play it.
You should check it out because the first one, it's all about like combat mechanics and stuff, and it's really heavy gameplay.
I love that.
The second one's going to be all narrative.
I love his new weapon and I want it so bad.
the Guardian nunchucks.
Yes.
So I'll be really quick. So the other game that I've been playing a ton of because it's been 115 degrees and I had to be outside with no AC. I've been back on my 3DS playing Triforce Heroes, and it's perfect for right now. Like I can go sit out next to the kiddie pool, play a couple levels on Triforce Heroes, come back to it, when my kids interrupt me or whatever. Like it is the perfect game for this heat wave, and I'm loving it.
Do we need to contact Zelda Dungeon and see if they've done a background check on your favorite Zelda game?
Well, Celeste, what have you been playing with power?
Like I mentioned earlier, I've been playing a little bit of Happy Home Designer, which is an Animal Crossing offshoot. You design houses and settings for the different characters. It's been out since like 2015 or 2016, and I love the requests that some of the villagers have. I want to live in a garbage dump. All right, well, I will make your dream come true. And yesterday I picked up Twilight Princess HD again. I'm at Snow Peak. I have played Twilight Princess before in the GameCube, but I'm revisiting it on my Wii U whenever I can. I played a little bit of Later Daters. I like the premise of it, but I'm a little disappointed that I have to buy more chapters, and it's not a very long game. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right. Jacob, what have you been playing with Power?
Like I said in the beginning, I've been playing a lot of Metroid, trying to catch up on beating all of the Metroid games before Dread comes out. So I've played and finished Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Samus Returns, which playing that was really nice because now knowing that Mercury Steam is going to be developing Metroid Dread, I know it is in excellent hands because that game is just absolutely wonderful. I've also been playing, like I said, a lot of Phoenix Wright on stream, and Mario Golf. Mario Golf is to no surprise, wonderful and addicting game. I actually, at work, came up with an idea for a great drinking game for Mario Golf, using speed golf. So that's going to be a lot of fun to play with my community. We've been playing Among Us, and when I was on here last, did I talk about my 3DS and what's happened with that?
No.
Okay, so 5 years ago,
You stopped playing it because the Switch came out.
No, my 3DS account was deleted. I won't go into the reasons as to why, but it was deleted. And I called up Nintendo and was like, oh, I want to get my account back. And they were like, nope, it's been deleted. We can't get it back. And I've done that a couple times throughout the years. Well, Metroid comes out, or Metroid Dread gets announced, and I was like, man, I have all of the Metroid games on the 3DS. I want to play them, but I don't want to pay for them. So I thought I would try calling them up again and kind of explain the situation a little bit better and more clarity to them. And they brought a 5-year-old deleted 3DS account back with 52 different games and $112 in my eShop account.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I've also been playing a lot of the 3DS because I was like, oh yeah, I've got this game and that game and just kind of like
awesome.
dabbling in everything. Yeah, like I had the Ambassador program on it, so that's how I had Metroid Fusion and original Metroid and yeah, like that has blown my mind. So if you have an issue with Nintendo customer service, don't give up. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. I wasn't rude. I was very polite, but just be honest with them. Tell them the situation. And I can't think. I was talking to the rep that I was on the phone with. And I was like, you have no idea how happy you have made me. Like if it wasn't for the fact that I have a girlfriend, you've made me the happiest man. But no, yeah, that was super, super great. So yeah, I've been playing, and that you reminded me of it though, David, because I have Triforce Heroes, and if you ever want to play with a co-op partner, I'm down to play with you. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to, and then there was one other. I don't know if I talked about it the last time I was on, but I got really obsessed with Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. That game is also absolutely wonderful. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say about it, but I want to say something about it because I just feel like it needs something to be said about it. It's so good. The way it works is you play the same 7 or 8 stages over and over again, but every time I beat the game, I was like, all right, let's play again. And then I just kept going through it, kept getting better and better. So yeah, that was my playing with Power.
All right.
Nice.
Well, before we go on, David, would you like to plug anything?
Sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. My family's they need me here, so
we
I
have
take
been
off
running excessively.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you can find me at David Lasby on Twitter, and you can find my articles at bossrushgames.com and zeldadungeon.net. And I just wanted to say it was a great episode, guys, and I will definitely look forward to hearing the rest of it when it comes out on the recording. So
the next
right.
10 minutes of the episode.
Well, I want to know what you're playing with Power. So
Thank you, David, for everything.
Stay cool, David. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna try.
Please
It's still 110 degrees inside my house. So
Gosh, gross.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye, David.
Bye.
All right, Corey, what have you been playing with Power?
Well, I've been playing I started playing a few different things. I'm still playing with the idea of restarting Breath of the Wild. I've been like, as I've been playing around with that idea, I've just been running around Hyrule Field and like going to the different areas and just like running around or whatever. And then I started playing some Mario Golf, and I really like it. I really like Mario Golf. But then I downloaded the Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to get it. At least there's a demo. And like they said, your progress carries over. So if I do decide to get it, I can just continue where I left off. Let me tell you about this little gem. Okay. That I don't think anybody's heard of in Monster Hunter Stories 2. Wings of Ruin. This game, I don't want to make any bold predictions here, but this game has the potential to be my game of the year.
Outside of Outriders?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell
That's
you.
insane.
I have played about 5 hours of this game, and it is just a delight. The art style is, I love the art style. I love the world design. I love the premise of the story where you're not really a hunter, you're a rider. And you just kind of go around and like collecting the eggs. It's kind of like how did the Rons put it the last time we talked to you? Said it's the game that Pokemon wants to be, which I wouldn't go that far. I think it's a different game, but like finding different eggs and hatching them and seeing like what monsters come out, and like me not knowing anything about Monster Hunter, I'm like, oh, that monster looks like a stupid dumb chicken dinosaur thing. But people say it's really powerful, so I guess I'll put it in the stable or whatever and let it grow or whatever. And it's like, it's just a wonderful, delightful game that like, I don't know. There's about 1 or 2 games every year that like really grab me like this. And like, obviously Breath of the Wild was one. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was one when it came out. Fire Emblem obviously has my heart forever, but like this game has that potential. Now, I don't know if the game changes at all, like, drastically, or if new mechanics are introduced 30 hours in or whatever. But right now, guys, it has the potential to be my game of the year. It is really fun. And it's made me, like, scroll over the Monster Hunter Rise store page on the eShop, like, 6 times in the last 2 days.
Better game.
Yeah, well.
I don't know about that. I'm glad you really like Monster Hunter Stories. That's definitely it's a great series.
Yeah, I almost went back and was like, should I get the 3D? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Not charging the 3DS to play the other game. But that's what I've been playing. Monster Hunter Stories 2 there's a demo, by the way, everybody. I know I kind of said that already, but there's a demo, and your progress carries over to the full game that comes out in 2 weeks. You should just give it a whirl. Just give it a whirl.
All right. So, I've been playing Crosscode. Definitely enjoying that. Getting further into the game. I know Dan and Grace have been talking about it, and I kind of understand where Dan is talking about, where it's kind of getting like a little bit overwhelming and stuff like that. But it's a game that I had on my system that I need to work on. I picked Legend of Mana up. I do have Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo, but I'm not playing it. And the reason why I'm not playing it because I want to go into the game completely fresh. I've already pre-ordered the game from Best Buy.
But why would you download the demo if you're not going to play it?
You want to know what? I do that sometimes. I would download the demo just to have it on my system. I still have on my Wii U the Bayonetta 2 demo.
I mean, I've got the global test fires for Splatoon 2 on my Switch as apps. I'm just like, 'cause I was a part of it, but like I played them. I played them. I don't know about downloading the demo that I didn't play. That's interesting.
I still have. Well, I downloaded the World Ends with You demo, so I can't wait to play that. I played a little bit more Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night, getting further into that. I'm trying to beat this one boss, and I think I need to get a little bit stronger. And that's pretty much it for right now for Switch. I've already so I spent $164 yesterday on Best Buy because I bought The Great Ace Attorney. I bought Skyward Sword, and I bought one more game that's coming out in July. That I got. Like, I was so happy that I was able to get these games. I think me and Dan ended up like pre-ordering the whole same thing from it. So hold on one second. But yeah, like I am excited for the games that I'm getting there. The Great Ace Attorney, Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword, and The World Is With You. I bought also. I also so there's more games that's gonna probably be coming that I'm gonna pre-order, but I cannot wait to play those games. Like I said, Monster Hunter Stories 2, I already had on pre-order. I was debating again the digital version over the physical, but talking to Lauren, I ended up getting the physical version, so I can't wait for that game. But everybody, that is going to be the show. Thank you, Celeste. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, David. Thank you, Corey. We're going to quickly get into some plugs. Celeste, go ahead and plug.
You can find me at Fairy Crypt on Twitter. I'm also with Another Zelda podcast, and I also host the 1v1 series. Every now and then, other people from Boss Rush will interview people. So check it out if you want to learn about some creators.
Yes. Jacob, where can we find you?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Galutrad, Galutrad. Mostly you can find me streaming on Twitch or talking about whatever I feel like talking about on Twitter. I do also have an Instagram, which I'm trying to use more often, and join the Otter Kingdom Discord, where we do social community game nights every Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We've been playing a lot of Mario Kart and Among Us.
Yes. Bossman, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am CorianHD on Twitter. You can find me at CorianHD on Instagram. I'm also trying to use it more, even though it's, I don't know. It's mostly just pictures of my kids, so it's not, whatever. If you like Destiny, I host Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. You can head on over there. There's some things we're having a sort of like a few leadership meetings to try to flesh out some things soon. We definitely are going to take a page out of Jacob's book and start doing community game nights for Pow Block and Arsenal X, which is our Xbox show. We might alternate weeks. We're not 100% sure yet. We're also planning to do some giveaways soon, so stay tuned for that. And
yes.
Yeah, join our Discord, join our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter, all that stuff.
Yes. You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBretcherCode. You go also check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud, other podcast apps. I'm getting ready to record some episodes for that. You can also check out World War One Podcast at podbean.com. Check out Talk the Walk. We released our second annual Pride Boss Rush panel, so go check that out with LeBron and Grayson joining me. We had a really good discussion about E3, LGBTQ issues, guys and gals that we would like to date, and even somehow we are seeing the LGBTQ plus in games nowadays. So do go check that out. It's a great episode. We really have fun, and once again, thank you, Corey, for allowing us to do that for this month. it really means a lot to me and to the community. With that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Be you, be more, be better. Treat everyone with love and respect. I know it's the summertime and it's good to be out and everything, but do be safe. And yeah, also check out more shows on Boss Rush Games. I've got in Boss Rush Entertainment like Q List, Land Party. Check out Crossroads, the PlayStation Podcast. Lorana Austin and guests do that show. Check out Arsenal X, which Jesse hosted, and other guests on there. With that, everybody, we will see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!